Alright, in this episode, I'm going to teach you how to fix a Nerf gun. Now, it's this one I've never seen before. Apparently it came from, my son went to a Nerf war, and the leader of the Nerf war was broken, and just said, since Nathan likes these things, he said, give it a try, go home, see if you can fix it. So, it's a pile of poo, it doesn't work, can't get it to work, but if you put your time into it, this is what can happen. Oh, look at that, it's even moving. It's not always working though. Does that have to be closed or open? I don't know. We got some weirdness. Okay, look.
Your hand's over, so I don't think
you saw it moving, right? Okay, well, step one is, the first thing is you got to take off this big honking cover. So this one here is the Hyperfire Elite weapon here. This thing is amazing here. I won't kid you. You take that off first, and then so I think I took all the, there's about, look at this, there's about 65,000 screws in this thing, but it will come off if you're okay. And I say carefully take it apart, and eventually you get this gigantic, really comes in three pieces. That little tiny piece there to the right, and then this ginormous thing here we're going to put aside. Okay, so then you get in here, and my son went through and looked for anything mechanically that looked wrong, and then we started testing things electrically. Okay, and so one of the first things he did was we started just kind of taking off these little covers. So they're basically, what you'll find is that there is a switch under this, and under this. There's three switches to this thing, and then this thing here comes down, and that enables that switch there. This enables the switch here, and then this one here enables this switch here. So, but you have to have that down first, like that. See that? And that makes that go. So this gets the motor running. Get your motor running, and then once that one's triggered, that one enables this guy here, which makes that go. So the problem we had in this particular item is nothing would work. It just would not work. And so we started at all sorts of crazy electrical issues. I checked for current everywhere. I checked to see if the switches worked. And I'll show you how to do that real quick. We took off this little cover here, and I'll give you an example of what the switches look like. So we took the cover off, put them aside. And there's the switch right there. You can kind of see it. And you can see it pushes down this little black thing. And then what's really happening is that this yellow wire is positive voltage and the black wire is ground. Okay, that's the one on the top. And then when this thing triggers, it's sending the ground signal. Actually, these two are connected now. And then what it does is it shuts off the ground signal to this blue wire, which wraps up and around and goes to this one. It shuts off that signal when this trigger goes. Okay, and that apparently in that process, that's the triggering mechanism to get everything going. In order for this to go, you got to have a magazine in. So if this magazine's not in, then let me pull the magazine out carefully. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry about this. There it goes. Okay, so if the magazine's not out, you'll see that this isn't pushed in, and therefore this won't trigger. So there's another almost identical switch under here, and that one goes, and then there's another switch under here, as I was saying, and that one, this enables that switch. So the problem we had was that after, I mean, I got it to work intermittently a little bit, and then I figured it out that this switch here wasn't getting quite enabled. And so if I pushed a little bit hard, just a little bit harder on this, I could get it to go every time. And I finally found the culprit. It was just that this switch wasn't quite engaging quite right. So what I did was I just took a little tiny piece of wire and I stuffed it under here between the switch and this little black gray plastic covering, which pushed this up just a little bit. I mean, millimeters. Let me zoom in on that a little bit. I just stuffed a little bit of, you can kind of see a piece of it, that wire stuffed in there, and that did it. And so now this thing, every time, I say every time, but of course not if I don't have the, it has to have a magazine in or it won't work. So that's the long and short of it. And then, you know, if you have a voltmeter and you want to check for things like, you know, current and making sure things are working, that's great. And I was doing that with mine. I was, you can kind of see my voltage here. You know, the common things you would want to do is put your leads. Let me see here. There it is. Let me zoom out. That'll help. There you go. You know, put your leads on there and there. Sorry about the terrible camera work. I should just set this down. That would be smarter. And then look, you can see, right, my batteries are giving me 6.25 volts. And then you just follow the cables and follow the red, that's positive, and it goes into here. You can see that, and I trace that. That gave me 6 volts. And then I could see that right to here, this yellow one gave me 6.25 volts. And I just connected the red there and the black to here, and same thing. And it gave me the 6.25 volts. That's how I learned these two were ground. And that the switch worked fine, and as did this one and this one. It's just that it wasn't quite getting a good signal. So there you go. I hope that's helpful for somebody. If you have any more questions or want us to mess with other Nerf guns or other fix-it stuff, we might be down with that. Thanks. Well, my camera assistant wanted to try it to see if it's working, and so, and seeing as don't aim for my nuts again. No!